black boy joy. 3 times for that black boy joy. Let me hear you make some black boy noise. 1 time for the black boy joy. 2 times for that black boy joy. 3 times for that black boy joy. Let me.
Girlie.
What it do, Sade?
Hi, my sister. How has it been being a cat dad?
Exhausting. I'm so tired. I'm so tired.
Y'all, before we started to record, this man was putting the cat through the ringer.
Who?
Okay, you was giving that cat, don't talk, don't speak.
I'm the victim.
Oh, you're the victim.
Yes. I'm looking right now at a Monstera pedal on the ground, and he just came back upstairs.
Girl, what is a monster? Oh, boom! Didn't even give the show a chance.
Because he already knew what was going on. So the thing about Milo is, like, as he gets older, I'm starting to see more of his personality. Now, he was really afraid when he first got here, so
Yeah.
it was really easy to keep him, like, contained. But the more he realizes this is his home, the more it truly does become that. And like the first couple of weeks were really nice because I was just developing a really nice routine of cleaning, but I have a lot of shit to do. I'm busy.
Okay.
And so in addition to that, like, I'm having to clean up behind him, and then I also keep buying toys for him to try to keep him occupied because I'm busy, and like I'm playing with him, but also he needs to self-play too. Like those two things need to happen. I don't have
You need to play with yourself.
okay, because I have responsibilities. So I got
responsibilities.
I got responsibilities.
All right. With the Tupperware. We got some Tupperware. I heard that on the show.
There's toys everywhere. Like I said, he's literally like, when I don't give him attention, so I'm really trying to make sure I build it into my schedule to play with him. He's about to do it right now, jump on my plant, and then he'll snatch a whole leaf off. That's his like favorite thing.
That sounds like a cat.
And he knows it irritates me. So the last time he did it, I tried to act like I don't care. And I'm even going to trim it back a little bit so that he doesn't have access to it in the same way. Mm-hmm. But yeah, he is really going to work on my nerves every chance he gets. But I love him dearly.
Yay! See, I want a dog, but I realize I'm not home a lot, and having a dog will make me have discipline to come home. So that might be a good excuse when I'm out and I don't want to be nowhere. I'll be like, I gotta go take care of my dog, or I don't want to be around.
Especially if you get a puppy.
Yeah,
especially if you get it, because
I can't rerun in the streets with these animals. But I'm so
he's 3 months. He's 3 months, and
I could tell
3 hours, and I'm like, I gotta get home to my kitten, y'all. I'm so sorry. He's downstairs waiting on me. He'd be right in my kitchen waiting for me to come back, sitting in a chair very patiently. He'd be asleep. I'll walk in and he'll be like,
hey.
Hi,
he'd be like, what's up? But I'm so excited to chat with you today, girlie.
Yeah, I'm excited.
But let's get into it. What is up, everybody? It is your boy, Lord Devery.
And I'm Derwin King.
And welcome back to That Black Boy Joy, where we create, maintain, and host space for Black and brown boys to be themselves and
so much more.
Hallelujah. Like, I don't know why I did that. I missed you. I feel like we haven't talked in a little second. We had to take care of some things. But also, like, shout out to everybody that's been, like, really, like, loving the content that we've been putting out right now. I really appreciate everybody engaging in the dialogue. We did try something different with our social media in regards to how we clip things. So we just really appreciate people for like loving it. And like Derwin, like all your insights specifically last week was like amazing. And people have even reached out to me like offline too, sister.
I know, me too. I was really surprised.
Why was you surprised?
Because I was running my mouth telling this story, and I like, sure, I'll tell my business here and there, but when it comes to my love life in that way, that felt different, you know, especially it being fresh. So I like it that the way that I processed it and you know, have thought about it became helpful to somebody else. That is, I couldn't ask for more.
Yeah, and I loved it. I think that was perfect because right now we have stories that we're wanting to tell, and it's very, very helpful for people right now. And I know you last week wanted to talk about, you know, your relationship to relationships and breakups and things of that nature. And I think right now I am leaning into this conversation of the realities of transitioning and what that looks like for me. And I wanted to dive into this conversation on the show because we have this perception of rest in our heads and this theory of what rest looks like. And wanting to really dive into what that is for us and how people are dealing with it, how I'm dealing with it, how have you dealt with it in the past. So I really wanted to dedicate this episode to the realities of transitioning, the conversation of rest and the interpretation of it. So I'm like really, really excited to get into that. And I wanted to start off with an icebreaker just to get your thoughts about what we're going to be diving into and just ask you, when was the last time you allowed yourself to rest without guilt?
When I was exhausted, I was maybe even sick or like injured,
Mhm.
and I had no choice but to
Mhm.
rest. That's
Mhm.
usually my relationship with rest, is like I'm being forced to. Yeah, otherwise I'm like maintenance resting. Like
Yeah.
I'm taking a nap so I can do something later,
Yeah.
but my
I'm
rest is not
You
great.
know, I'm the same way, honestly. Like, I've had that relationship with rest for quite some time that it is not a thing that I can do and shall do. Like, I'm not a napper. I am not someone that is okay with like sleeping for a long period of time or believing that like my brain should not be idle at all. And that is something that I now started to create a different relationship with. So I think the last time I truly did that is right now. In this transition that I'm in right now. But like, do you realize how we only rest when we are forced?
Yeah,
Have you
absolutely.
like like even last week when you talked about how you literally had to rest, even though because your body, even though I know it's because you had an 8 and you were depriving your body of the needs that it had. Actually, rest. Actually, I'll take that back because you were doing a lot of stuff last week, but your body physically shut down when we talked in our last episode where you
Hmm.
needed to find that rest forcibly.
Absolutely.
And
That's how it goes. Like my body is like, "Oh, you need to rest." Or I realize, "Oh, I've been going nonstop for a while. I need to just like stay
yeah.
home and not run around the streets." And what I'm really realizing is the quality of rest I'm getting then isn't even great, because like
Hmm.
there is no version of me that can sit here and just do nothing. Like
Yeah.
I am going to clean the house, or I'm going to say, "Oh, I need to do," I will guilt myself into doing something, or I have this free time, so let me do that task I've been
Mhm.
neglecting. But that's just how that's how I am.
Yeah. I think I am the same way. And I think this conversation specifically of rest, I've realized that like people's mindset of it and its correlation to this conversation of like survival and like tied to creativity and joy is something that I've been leaning into and trying to understand because we sometimes don't believe that we need to rest in order for us to survive. We don't believe that we need to have like rest days for our bodies to charge for us to like keep going and keep going
Yeah,
forth.
to
We
produce
only
further. Yeah.
produce further. We only believe that we rest when we are fatigued or burnt out. You
Yeah.
know, and I want us to really dive into reframing that and challenging that notion because I think that will start to allow us in our recent lives and even people that are listening and people beyond that to understand that rest is something that should be done religiously in your
Yes.
life and in your day of daily work and should be encouraged. And I want to say specifically with Black men as well, because
Mhm.
I know that that is something that is unheard of and unfathomed. So I do want to get into that in a recent later episode. I mean later into this episode. But I do want to speak about like the reason why I personally am really intrigued about this is because as you all probably heard from my last episode, was really talking about this conversation of transitioning. And speaking of that, I was recently laid off from my previous job, and I am now in a space of transitioning into what that looks like moving forward. I am now in a space of having to figure out what my um, next career field will be, what I want to do in the meantime, how I want to show up in these different spaces now because I'm restarting the relationship to work
Mm.
right now. And I'm kind of been on this like up and down roller coaster. Some days it's like a great to finally feel like I get to pause. But there's some days I'm like, why am I not moving? Why am I
Mm.
not applying to this? Why am I not doing that? And I've been having these really um, conflicting mindsets or thought processes because rest is something that I'm really wanting to encourage myself to do. But rest right now is something that is so foreign to me.
Yeah.
Like,
I always think that like when people get opportunities like this, and I'm going to call it an opportunity,
Mhm.
a layoff in the way that it has happened to you, that it is almost a gift. No, I don't know why I'm saying almost. It is a gift. In some ways, you get an opportunity to be still,
Mhm.
because they've bought you some time. Now, I understand, and uh, I'm not overlooking
Yeah.
how scary it is not to have job security, but job security is a fallacy for many people. Like
Mhm.
when I think about the job that I'm in now versus the job I was in last year, like my program had ended and I was jobless until they moved me to another program.
How long was
So
that? How long was that?
that was I wasn't jobless very long. There,
Okay, yeah.
first of all, my job, I work in nonprofit,
Yeah.
so there ain't no severance.
Okay, girl,
But
next.
I can only dream. Let's be very clear. Let's be very clear.
Yeah.
So I say that to say when certain versions of layoffs become gifts because they have given you time to
Yeah.
reflect, time to think, time to imagine. There is so much potential and opportunity for you to shape a new way moving forward, and for
Mhm.
you to have this conversation with yourself about rest, about what rest means to you. And I
Yeah.
definitely emphasize with the feeling of like, oh, am I doing enough? Because when you're like, oh, I don't have a job, and something inside of me is saying you should be looking for a new job. This time is not time that you should be spent doing whatever. But think about how much clarity you'll have pursuing work from a space of fullness and of
Mhm.
wholeness and of rest and clarity. Like
Yeah.
you're gonna be like, oh yeah, I'm good. Like I know exactly what I want. And the preparation for job interviews, the getting your resume together, all of that can be a fun and exciting experience versus it being a stressful, daunting, and like rat race kind of feeling. So there's an opportunity for this to be a gift to you.
Yeah, I think so. Just to disclaim with you all, I think I have a unique stance on it just because I am not in a space to rush back into into a job. I know different people have the scarcity mindset or the severance, or if people didn't get a severance or laid off and it was very abrupt. So I completely understand individuals that do not have the ability to rest in this
Yes.
space. But I do want to note in my particular notion of resting right now is what I'm choosing, and it is foreign to me. And it is something that is uncertain. Granted, I can go right into trying to find a job and going back into it, but I did mention this before is um, I can get a job, but it's the job that I want. You know,
Yes.
it's I can go right. I know the skills. Anybody, not anybody, but there's spaces that you can't get a job depending on what type of things you're looking for. But is it going to be the job that you want? And I'm in a space right now where I'm choosing to recalibrate myself into this mindset of taking this time to reframe what I'm looking for in life, even outside of my occupation, and also trying to figure out, what those things look like in general. So I really wanted to note that because I know some people are like, girl, I can't take a break. I got families, I got mouths to feed, I have things I need to take care of. And I know I'm in the space of stability and comfort that I am, but I also know that like I have this relationship where I'm like, what is going on? Like, what is this? So I did want to disclaim that because I didn't want to minimize anybody's experiences with that. But Duran, I did want to ask you, since you've talked about rest has been something that was like challenging for you. Has there been any transitions that required you to have rest besides you being sick or made you reframe that look of what rest looks like for you?
It feels like the exact opposite is happening.
Hmm.
However, now that we're having this conversation, I'm realizing I'm being called to figure out what rest looks like in this time. I
Yeah.
am tasked with a lot of things. I have agreed to do a lot of things, and I want to do all of them. I historically am really unfocused, but I have very clear goals. I am.
Bitch,
I
I
have
know that. Yeah, it's so funny you said it.
I have very clearly defined goals for this year that I laid out at the top of the year. And so, and in taking in, this animal, there are new levels of responsibility here. And I have to figure out how to make all of it work. I've agreed to do a really laborious project at work. And in
Yeah.
addition to that, I have my actual responsibilities for work. And then, we've got this, and I still am trying to build, an acting career here in whatever way makes sense in my life. And then I'm like physically active and shit. So
Yeah.
I am trying to balance, and that balance is not possible without rest.
So rest is
So
foreign to you right now
it
in
is
your
that
head.
I don't know who the best way. I'm trying to determine. You still have to find a better way to say this, baby. I am exploring the healthiest way to rest and to be productive in ways that I have agreed to be.
Mm-hmm.
How do I maintain a healthy relationship with rest right now while I'm also being some cat's father and an employee and a leader and an organizer
Mm-hmm.
and, this fit version of myself. And I'm
Yeah.
being called in so many directions, and it's a little overwhelming. But I want this. This is the
Yeah.
life I want. I want to
Yeah.
be able to juggle these things. So
Mm-hmm.
I have to make rest work with this, right?
Yeah.
Or else it's like a house of cards. It's all just going to come collapsing down.
Yeah. I want to note, sister, and specifically, we rest with the podcast. So, we know that we are so you do have the abilities to rest. You know your boundaries, you know your limits, but it's knowing that in order for you to be able to continue forth and continue on, there needs to be a moment of stability and a moment of, I need to step away to re-enter. I always believe your cup cannot be half full if you want to replenish anybody else's, or you have to be able to have something in yours to, pour into others. And that requires you to detach or, rest and pause and all that. So we do our resting, sister.
Let me also say this. Well, because, right, like this is our on season for the
Yeah.
show. So the
Yeah.
balancing act is I had to put something down, and I'm
Yeah.
inside. I have been outside all year, and people are like, "Oh, are you going to do this? Are you going to do that?" I'm like, "No, I
No.
can't. I need a break." And the reason that I need a break is not so I can sit at home and twiddle my thumbs. It's so that I can show up in the other, areas of my life.
Yeah.
When we weren't doing the show, I did have the time to go outside. My
Yes.
schedule was a little more free, so I could agree to do this and that, and but now it's like I'm saying no a lot more frequently
Mm-hmm.
to supporting people's things and going to. I would love to, but I physically cannot. I cannot do this and then also make time and space to prepare for this, and it's just not feasible.
Yeah.
So some of the rest is actually happening in my not being outside in social spaces that I would normally be in, and it feels terrible because I love
She
being a
loved the
socialite.
outside,
I
y'all,
love.
baby.
Since I was a wee little tyke, it was always appealing to me to be
Is
some
that the
version
streets?
of a socialite. The
Is that the
girls know me.
streets? Is that the streets
It's what
calling?
they calling.
Yes.
Ring ring.
Yes, girl. I mean, listen, here's the thing. I tell them, like, me and your schedule, right? Our schedules is tat, 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 tat. We
Yeah.
are very busy. Besides the podcast, we
No.
very much have lives outside of it. And
Yeah.
we've definitely had our conversations of when we rest, we look at it as like a setback or something. Or it's like, oh, when I sit down, I'm forgetting to do all these things. But we've been, and I know we've talked in all, like, we've been reframing that as something as a downtime, as a gift now.
Yeah.
Let's talk about that, because the downtime has been a gift for us, because when we are not shooting, that is a gift for us to go back into ourselves, to enjoy our friends, to be outside, and makes us miss these things that we're doing and gives us the opportunity to feel that love or feel that inspiration again.
One of my favorite things is when we have taken a break from the show and we're not doing such regular kind of check-ins. So when we come back and we're like, all right, let's get back into it. And we're kind of like catching each other up on what we've been doing and what's been happening in our lives. And then that's when it feels like the magic happens, right? Where we're like, oh, right, that we could talk, because we're like, we've been through this and I want to talk about this on the show, and how it really informs how we like
Clarity.
really have these conversations. It is that's why it's a gift for me, is because now I've got like these ideas for what we're going to talk about, and we find out that we're having such similar experiences, or maybe we're having opposite versions of the same experience, the same topic, but we're approaching it differently. That's when the magic happens between us. So I think that our rests are always these like really regenerative moments for us. I love
Yeah.
that.
Like I just mentioned, it really makes me feel like we're getting clarity and we're neat because when you're going, you're not able to see the picture and it's full. You're only thinking forward to the finish line. And when you're able to be reflective and be retrospective, it allows you to have that picture and that opportunity to, even in work, right? After you do a program, you debrief it. After you do an event, ideally in programming, you're able to look at it and reflect and be like, okay, this is what happened and this is what it's doing. And that is something we do with our lives as well. We need moments, even when we work out, they always emphasize having a rest day. The girls be like, bitch, I don't need a rest day. I'm like, girl, no, you do need
You
a
do.
rest day. Like, you don't have one, sister. And I'm going to clock
Okay.
you for that because I need you to
Okay.
stop doing run club every day. All right? You need to stop running every day. But
I'm
I know
not.
you.
I'm not. But I did run a 6K over the weekend,
How
and
was that? Sorry, I know we're
girl,
pivoting. I've
we
run a
went over a
5K.
bridge. It was hard. 2 miles. Two
Yeah.
miles of incline, of straight up incline, and then the rest of it was downhill. But it was great. It was a really nice feeling. The problem now is that I'm limping a bit because I sustained an injury from the 10K that I did in April, so my ankle is a little sore. And then I went and did run club last night.
Yeah.
But I'm fine. I'm fine. I'm
Yeah.
gonna be
Okay.
fine. I'm always gonna be fine
Yeah.
because I'm gonna keep running. Trust
Mm-hmm.
and believe that.
Yes. I wanted to ask you a question. I want to get some deep thinking or some thoughts from you is, how has rest revealed lessons you would have missed if you kept moving?
I think it's honestly, it's just going to be about what I went through recently. Like,
Yeah.
there's this period where when I
Perfect
don't
example.
have anything to do but to sit with my experiences, that I realize what I've kind of been like avoiding, because I don't purposely avoid things. Like,
Yeah.
at least not often. And so sometimes I realize like, oh, you've been subconsciously piling these things on your schedule so that you don't have to sit with this really difficult emotion.
Yeah.
So when I am intentional, usually my intention around rest is to prepare for something. So I
Mm-hmm.
might be putting something down so I can prepare for some big wave, this
Yeah.
big kind of focus. And it's been a while since I did it just to do it. But yeah, I don't know. Typically, it's just like I realize at some point that I've been running away from an emotion, and then I
Mm-hmm.
have to sit down and deal with said emotion.
Yeah. That's people don't recognize that a lot. They don't realize that when they are constantly putting things in front of them and putting things to distract them, it's actually because they are refusing to rest, to feel still and feel discomfort for them to get clarity on what the things are. And I think it's because people are afraid of how they will respond to that clarity. Like, oh, I'm gonna just do all these things. I'm gonna get these things. Like last week, you said you were in our last episode, you're like, I'm doing this, doing this to distract from that emotion
Yeah.
that I have to do this thing with this thing that is no longer attached to my life. And it's scary because I think we as individuals and as people, why are we so afraid of this mindset of rest and this co- correlation to it of being stuck?
There's it's coming from a couple different places. Some of it could be
Hmm.
your experiences with maybe poverty, right?
Yeah.
And not this isn't going to be everyone. Not everybody's
Yeah.
grew up poor, but like this idea that you have to always be doing something, that you have to always be earning. So some of it is tied to the acquisition of capital,
Yeah.
and then the other part of it is like social media, kind of like seeing people achieve and thinking I should also be achieving, and in order to achieve I need to do. And
Hmm.
there is this guilt that like if you're not about it, right, like you're not passionate or you don't really want it if you are not always pursuing it and
Yeah.
always publicly pursuing it.
Yeah.
But there's so much opportunity in the quiet parts. Like I realize how much growth is in me just living, that I can come back to character and do it differently after I've lived. or that we can come back to the show and have some insights. Like, I don't pull these insights out of my asshole, you know.
I mean,
I'm
it's
living. Some things.
Yeah, I'm just being
No,
funny. Yeah.
I'm living. I'm reflecting.
Yeah.
You know what?
Yeah.
I'm so glad that I just said that. Sometimes the rest is because I'm actively aware that I need to reflect. So I will say that reflection is something that only comes in the quiet. And because I'm at least proactive about reflecting, there
Yeah.
is some quiet time to be made.
Yeah. No, definitely. I think that you cannot reflect in chaos. You cannot
Right.
do that to the best of your ability, right? When people are like, "Oh, I do better in crowd. I can do these things." It's like, no, you cannot. You're um what is it, like, you're accepting this or you're choosing to do it in this midst, but like, in order for you to reflect, you do need to be able to isolate, and you do need to be able to do that. But I think it's because historically, Black people and our connection to rest was not a thing. It was
Mm.
foreign. Grinding was a thing that we were always told to do. Our ancestors are not able to rest. They had to wake up in the morning and then until the next day, making sure that they had to provide for people. And it was because rest was something that was a privilege, and that was something that was not allowed to people that were Black and brown.
L- Lest we also remember who benefits from us always producing. Like,
Hmm.
this country runs on
Yeah.
production.
Yeah.
America runs on production.
Yeah.
So part of that guilt isn't even just like coming from the self or from our own, communities. It's also coming from the powers that
Society.
be. Yeah,
Yeah.
like, hey, produce so that, we
Maybe
can
when
earn.
back in the day, if we stopped moving, we was getting crucified for it. We was getting
No.
punished if we was out in the field. If we needed to if we passed out a break, it was, girl, no, you need to keep moving.
We talk a lot about publicly online about the power of general strikes. Like, you realize that people take back their power by saying we're no longer going to do this work. We are.
Yes.
I want you to know that this cat just fell.
I heard it. Maybe when I heard that,
and I knew he was going to, because nobody told him to get his ass up there. There's no grip.
mm-hmm.
Oh, did you hear him?
I heard boo.
I'm gonna check on him in a second.
We got it, Milo. But no, yeah, I agree. I think that we have had that. We've never had that relationship, and that was a privilege to us. And now, when we are trying to allow ourselves to embrace rest, we are sometimes looked at as being lazy, or looked at as it is something that we need to. Why are we stopping? Why you need to be moving and moving, moving. And I always say, like, also with stress, like, constantly moving, our health is always going to be affected by it.
Yeah,
Like, my
it is.
friends, yes, I have a friend that, like, I love them down. Like, always are like, I need to move, I need to move, I need to move. And I'm just like, no, like, you don't. And I think it was because I used to be like that. Like, I always found my worth in doing for others. And if I wasn't doing something for somebody, then I didn't have nothing to do or get.
Like a mule. Look at you.
Yes. Right,
A
I was a
mule.
mule. I was
No,
like, come
that's
on.
that resonates with me. I'm the same. I was just thinking about this. So this has been running through my mind. Like, why do I have to be in service of someone else to feel like I am deserving of, like, space? And, like, honestly, I was just thinking earlier today, like, when was the last time that somebody created peace for me? Like,
Mm-hmm.
all the peace I have found in this life has been self-generated. So
Mm-hmm.
when was the last time that somebody was of service to me and was like, no, I really want you to just relax.
Yeah.
I want you to just be still and calm and rest.
That's something that that's what I look for in a partner now. So, if somebody's listening, I've always wanting to be in a space where somebody is telling me and informing me. And I know this is problematic, and I know I'll talk to my therapist about it. Is like, it's telling me, like, it is okay to rest. It's great. Like, literally probably like, Devery, stop. Like, you don't need to be thinking in the future, in the past. You don't need to be constantly always having to have the solution to things, um, because you're not able to be present and you're not able to be here. And I think that that is something that, like, I am learning about myself, but, like, I have been struggling with that in relationships and just in life. Is like, I don't need to have all the answers, and I don't always have to be solution oriented. And I can be okay with being taking the hands off. And I think that's just something I was never able to do. Like, I am single. I'm in an area by myself. I moved here by myself. I was never able to not have a solution, um, because I always had to have the answer. And I think that's something in relationships I've always been like, I would love for somebody to just be like, you know what, Dev, I got this. You know what, Dev, like, I could pay this bill, or I can like surprise you on a trip or a vacation. Like, because I want to show you that like, you don't always have to be doing it.
I have a theory about this.
What's the theory,
I don't know if you're going to like it.
Oh, God.
You know something we have in common here?
Tell me.
We are two, and you're taller than I am, but tall,
yes.
dark-skinned
yes.
Black men.
Yes.
And I think that people implicitly look at us and think like we're just not the person people want to make life easy for.
Yeah.
Like no one is like, you know how quickly people just like throw themselves at the opportunity to like make life easy for like a light-skinned person, especially if they're petite, and especially if they're like feigning incompetence or like the damsel in distress kind of thing. I'm saying this because I've experienced it.
Yes.
But you know, if we at 6+ feet and these hues, you know, all of this melanin, I almost said melatonin like a dumbass. All this melanin were to pretend that way, people be like, you a grown ass nigga. You is a big ass nigga. What you mean you need somebody? No one's throwing themselves at the opportunity to make life easy for us.
No, I think that is specifically with Black men and Black queer men. We are like, people do not allow us to rest. Society has never allowed a Black man to be able to say, I need to rest. I need to unwind. I need to, because that was something I was like, no, men are to provide, protect, do all these things. And it's like, what in the world? Like, I get it, Negro. Like, so when I tell people like, I want to be, have the princess treatment in certain manner. Like, I don't want to be I want to be treated and nurtured as well, because like, I like to feel special too. Like, I want you to take things off my back. Like, girl,
I deserve to. I'm going to look. Don't I deserve to be privileged? Don't I deserve to get the very best? It ain't easy being this fine. And if it was, then we all could do it.
Period. We cannot. Okay.
No, but no, real shit. Like I'm not gonna call it the princess treatment, because I want to change the narrative around this. Bitch, I am deserving of, you know, being spoiled too. I am deserving of someone putting in work and effort to make my life easy in the same way that I do for like my partners. Like, I want to provide for you. I want to make life easier for you. I realize that one of my love languages is acts of service. There's a reason for that. So if someone were to say like, no, I want you to rest today, I'm going to do this stuff for you, that would change. Exactly. That it would blow my fucking mind. Do you remember? I love when we always bring this up. But that day that I had a photo shoot for the web series, and I came back to your place, and you and DeAndre like just like ironed my clothes.
Oh, yay!
And I was just like, wow, no one's ever done something like this for me.
Yes.
And I just remembered, like, I was stressed out, and you guys did something that made things a little easier for me. And I was just like, I realized I felt a lot less alone.
Yeah.
And that is it. So maybe part of this issue around rest for us is that like, we're afraid that if we're not doing the things, then the things aren't going to get done, and there's not really going to be anyone to do it for us. Pieces for us.
I agree. Yes, I agree, sister. Also, I remember that day vividly. I do remember, because that is something that like I remember, because I like I said, I do for others, and how I show up for people is very much acts of service. And I knew that you were in a very chaotic headspace, but you would never say it. You are someone that is very much like, oh, I can do 30 things in an hour, and you would find somehow, some way to do it. Will it be at a great level? No, but it'll be completed. But I knew that there needed to be at least something that could happen that would just allow you to breathe, because you have a lot of things going on. But I also think it goes into this mindset of we are not allowed to rest because we're constantly always having to prove ourselves. We are constantly always having to show people or show ourselves that we are capable of doing, things and so much more. And certain things are related to weakness, right?
Yeah.
When you rest,
Yes.
is weakness is related to rest, or you're giving up, or you're a failure. And in our community, like, you can't rest. If you rest, somebody else might come through and swoop up your dude, or, you might come through and somebody want to be in competition with you, or like you just are already a minority. And it is looked at as something that, like, if you're not grinding, you're not hungry. And it's like, I am hungry, but I also know that I need to breathe and rest. And my mental health, like, people, heart attacks are really a thing, and it's starting to become at a younger age. We
Yeah.
are experiencing heart attack, heart death, like heart disease and all that, because we are not allowing rest to be a priority in our lives. And work now, I will say, even because of the pandemic, work life balance has been something that has been refreshed, because now people are working like hybrid schedules. Before the pandemic, we were always going into a damn building from 9 to 5, and it was wild. But now with hybrid schedules, you are able to work and still have rest. You might be laying down in the bed, you know, answering emails and things like that. But I think we are starting to see it, but I think it's because we are used to always having to prove ourselves.
Absolutely.
Mhm. I love that we're having this conversation, because I think it's something that I'm navigating a lot. And I think I'm resisting this notion that I have to be always doing something now, or resisting in relationships that I always have to pursue, right? Or I'm always having to
Perform.
perform, and I'm always having to do these things. And I think it's starting to show revelation in what people want from me.
Oh,
I think that is what been a really interesting thing, is when I have chosen to no longer perform, or no longer be of service to others, or choose to rest. I am now starting to see that there is clarity amongst my relationship with people and their expectations of me. And then also what it looks like for me to actually say, I like this, or I prefer this. And it's been fascinating, because I've had to adjust and pivot and reflect on that.
yeah. That realizing that your own needs take up space. I hate being 30 and having that realization. Like, no, I'm like, damn it, fuck. Why couldn't I know this at fucking 22? Why couldn't I have become so incredibly selfish just in the time when it was most acceptable? Everyone expects a 22-year-old to be selfish. Why couldn't I be? Why did I have to become the person who was so adamant about making space for other people? And I mean, I know the answer. Like,
Yeah.
I don't bring up colorism and stuff like that
Yeah.
because I'm trying to be divisive or because I need an out. The fact of the matter is I work my ass off. I
Yeah.
put so much effort into everything that I do, and there's so much of my time and energy being stretched into different places. And like I do actually produce really like quality work, especially when I'm focused. And the world doesn't necessarily treat my labor with the same appreciation
Yeah.
and compensation that it would someone who looks very different from me.
Hmm.
So,
Yeah.
now I am coming to this realization and I demand to be treated with respect and, compensated for the energy that I'm putting out. Otherwise, I'm not going to do it.
Yeah, I think that that is colorism. Some things that I've experienced does, come into play in these things, because I just was like, I've seen and I've seen, and we know someone of lighter skin, of fairer skin, their rest is something that is able to be assessed easily than ours.
No
It
motherfucker sit
is,
down and do nothing. People be like, yeah, you
yeah,
should.
yeah, you got it. You got me. Like, I've had so many guys tell me, like, your job is to do for me. And
Yeah.
I say, no, it is an equitable space. We pour into each other. I've literally been like, no, and you could call me feminine, you could call me soft, all those things. But if I am choosing to look at a rest as something that, like, I want, like, for example, I say this to, like, relationships, platonic or not, always, there's not going to always be an even number, right? There's going to be moments where somebody pours 60 and the other person has 40. You know, when
Yeah.
somebody is down, you pick them up, you support them. If they're resting, you take care, you know, you have to do that because everybody cannot always be 100%. And I think that like a lot of times, like in my 30s, I also realized like when you realize when people get older, they give no fucks about like expectations. Like older people, they will tell you what it is, what it ain't. I'm not like grandma will be like, get out my face, little boy. Because
Yeah.
they don't, they are like, I'm about to be so I'm resting, right? I need to chill out. And then like younger, we are told since we're young, we have to, you know, do all these things for everybody because we have this space. But it's like, where is that middle ground? Where
Yeah.
is that middle where you're not young, where you always have to be constantly moving, and then you're not old, where you're at a space where you're like, I don't have to, you know, care about other people because I am only worried about my health and my mental at this point. It's weird.
I always think about how exciting it is to be an old person because of that. One of my favorite elders, she's an ancestor now, was my Aunt Mickey. And I
Mm.
loved her so dearly because she would say whatever was on her mind. People thought she was so mean and ornery, and I thought she was hilarious. But one thing she was a truth teller. And she always told people what she thought. And I want to be that person today. I don't want to
Yeah.
wait until I'm 80. I don't give a fuck.
Yes.
I'm going to say
Okay.
what I want to say, and I'm going to carve out the space for me today. No, seriously, because I'm not going to continue waiting for
Not.
someone to make my life easier or to make peace for me or any of that stuff. I'm going to demand it. I am. I'm going to. I encourage you to do the same thing. Like,
Uh,
so, like, if I do want to rest, and maybe I did need a cat as an
yeah.
excuse, but I'm going to sit in this house. I'm going to be like, no, I can't do that. I'm sorry.
Yep. We talked about that. Like, yes. I love how we're also you reframing rest as us reclaiming our independence and our
Yeah.
autonomy. And I think that that is the importance of this, right? Is this conversation of trusting the pause and instead of fighting it is something that like I love because I was like, we need to rest. We need to pause. We need to do that. And I'm like really big on it. And I think I've been on it for quite some time, but this moment I've had to rest because it wasn't by choice. It was because of the climate we're in. But I really am really wanting that notion of like, don't fight the pause, girl. Like, don't fight it. Like, give yourself. That's what when people go to vacation, baby. I tell people when I go on vacation, baby, I am going balls to the wall on my vacation. There's drinking from sun up to sundown. There is no curfew. We're doing everything that because you're on vacation. It is the
Yeah.
intent to rest,
Yeah.
right? If I would have sleep the whole trip.
Well, some people like to do adventure and all that other shit.
But it is you're turning your brain off from the
Yes.
anticipation, not the
Yes.
expectation of performance.
That's right. That's right.
Ooh!
Yeah, I like that.
You're turning your brain off from the anticipation of performance. That
like
is
that.
what we need to think about in this type of rest. Ooh, I'm sorry.
With that being the definition of vacation, I'm going to tell you I haven't had that in like 6 years.
You know, here's my thing, right? I have one friend, and I'll say this, and they know I have very few friends. Let me say redact that. Very few friends that will allow me to rest on a vacation. I am usually type A. You know how I am, girl. I'm like, we're gonna do this, we're gonna do that. I'm booking the flights, I'm telling the itinerary. But I have very few friends that are like, Devery, you don't gotta do that. And baby, I'll be like, wait. And it's proper. It's not like no shenanigans. It's not like the trip ain't working. It's everything's in motion. But me, I'm like, if this is gonna go off with a hitch, I need to be in charge. And then by the time I look up, the trip is over. You put my card down on everything. I am now collecting the funds from everybody.
You see what I mean?
Yeah.
That's exactly what I said earlier. That there's no one else who's going to pick up the cards. You're like, there is no way because if I choose not to do this thing, it's not going to get done.
Mm-hmm.
You become the mule. You are the person who has to make everyone else's life go easier or better or more exciting. It's bullshit. That is such bullshit.
It is bullshit, but I think that we can choose if we want to partake or not.
We absolutely can.
We need to be able to be okay with that in our response. And I think that is something that has been an interesting take that I think a lot of us have not chose in this moment. And I think it's because our relationship to it has been skewed and things of that nature. But I do want to add, go ahead.
No, I was just going to say, with me being intentional about trying to be a certain person in other people's lives, because I know in our first episode of this season, I said I wanted to be a resource. I wanted to be of help. That is true. That is what I'd like to be in community to other people. However, balance is important. I do want to carve out the spaces of being intentional and saying, no, I'm going to rest now. Find someone else to do it. Get somebody else to do it.
Do you know that's so scary to, like, even at work, right? When you are not able to tell people that you do not have the capacity.
Yeah. I can't take it on right now. I just can't. This is not something I can do.
I don't know what that would ever feel like, to be at a job and to be like, I cannot do that. Baby, I feel like I'm packing my box up as soon as I say that. Baby, when I said that, they already told security, get him out.
Child, they have my box. Well, because they already got a box with your name on it anyhow. They just waiting. What do you say?
The big black man? Yes, the black one. Yeah, the gay one.
I'm putting another one of your belongings in the box. You don't even said you're going to be late on the day.
Yeah. Why they like, when you come back to your office, why was my clipboard missing? Why is my pencil missing? It's because, baby, by the time you ready they tell you, bitch, they've already packed it.
We was just waiting for the last slip up, baby. We had you on a performance management plan, baby. That last
we had you on a pit before you can't even pit.
You come back, that shit is locked. They done put you out like an eviction, bitch. Your box is on the curb.
You didn't even know you was having a performance plan the whole time. We didn't want to tell you this, but we was watching you this whole time.
Mm-hmm.
And we thought you weren't, when you told us that you couldn't do that thing, yeah, it was the last straw,
like
nigga.
we knew. Mm-hmm.
But it's funny because, like, I say that with work, like, rest and work is so foreign, and that's scary to me to see that. I think for me moving forward, I am not giving, not saying I'm not giving, but I'm not making my occupation my personality or my identity. It is because this moment has shown me that you can be this one day and then you cannot be that. And you are now in a space that you have to reframe who you are in this space. And also understand that, like, you're not in control right now, so you can rest. You can choose the ability to, pause. Like, for me, I'm applying to jobs, but I'm not going out of my way. I'm not jumping through hoops. I'm not doing these things because I am telling myself, and I'm always reframing that I am doing what I can do. What is in my control is in my control. What is not in my control, I cannot control. So therefore, I am allowed to rest. I'm allowed to treat myself. I'm allowed to respect myself, and I'm allowed to give myself the permission to breathe, and be stable. So I think that is something that, like, I've found a lot about myself in this time, is that, like, I have the capabilities and I felt a lot of joy in it. Like, I felt so much joy in being able to just say, I am okay. A lot of opportunities. I know a lot of experiences like this people would not have the same reaction, but I know that I am able to say, you are okay. And when there's days when I'm like, bitch, are you okay? Can you do it? I always have to reframe that, like, you deserve, and you shall allow this to be, because when will you get this opportunity again? Particularly in my scenario, was, when will I get an opportunity to rest this comfortably without having to do all those things.
I think I'm going to think about times and moments, and I think this is an opportune time for me now. I'm specifically still saying, because of the kitten, to really be mindful when I'm not scooping up cat poop. When can I actually just relax? Like, where are the opportunities for me to do nothing? I'm thinking that they're probably going to be on the weekends, but I'm also thinking there's some time for me to inject some rest into some of my weeks. So we'll see.
So
we'll see.
Let's also think of rest in a more mindset of, when shall I not allow myself to worry?
Yeah.
Right? You can always, if you're, like, for example, with you running, use that as a time to turn your brain off, right? When you're running, we go on cruise control. I kid you, we know how to, when we run, baby, for me specifically, I run to escape reality. And I am able to know that I'm on a trail, I'm on a path, and I know that I'm not running and I'm like, what am I going to eat for breakfast? What am I going to eat for lunch? Like, these are the moments where you can challenge your mind to choose rest. And rest doesn't always have to equate to, what is it, like physically stationary? Rest can also equate to choosing to not, engage in something, to,
Yeah.
choose, like, for example, last couple, when the relationship, you chose not to engage. That's a form of rest. You chose to not do that because you knew yourself. When you're, picking up cat poop, you're present in your cat's life. You're resting to be, stable in that. So I think I want to challenge people to not always equate it to physical rest and embrace that mindset of choosing yourself to not have to be in worry or in constant reflection, constantly reflecting. That's
Yeah.
the thing. Darren, thank you for
Thank you.
this.
Yeah, I'm thinking a lot. This has given me a lot to think about, so I appreciate that.
You're welcome, sister. I know this is like very specific to me right now, and I know people are probably going to be like, "Girl, what the what?" But I'm just like, we need to talk about this because rest is going to be happening in people's lives at all different integral moments. I remember when people say, "I wish I was a kid again." Like, I wish I was a kid where I don't have to pay
Back in
bills.
the day when I was
So
young
I'm
and
scared
not
to
a
get a
kid
kid
anymore, but
anymore.
sometimes I sit and wish I was a kid again. Yeah.
Right? Yeah, we say that now. It's like I don't want to have to worry about bills. I don't have to worry about this. I don't have to worry about like all of that. And it's because that was when you were able to rest. Babies be sleeping all damn day.
This was
Babies.
sleep. He sleep now.
Baby, okay. You see how Milo was just running all around. But I
He done
love
laid the
that.
fuck down now.
Yeah. But Darren, yeah, I just want to say thank you for, challenging yourself in this space, and your journey with rest is ongoing. It is not something that has to be immediate. It does not have to be something that is perfected or have perfection uh, in correlation to it, but it has to be something that you do acknowledge that you need
Yeah.
in your journey. And I do want to always just leave on a note before we go into our closing to ask people, um, to encourage people, where in your life do you need to give yourself permission to pause and transform? I want people to think about that. I want me and Derwin to think about that, because pausing and transforming allows for us to transition through life, and understand who we are in that journey and allow us to perfect ourselves and live in authenticity. So just wanted to leave on that note, Derwin.
I love that.
But as you all know, we are about to wrap up the show, and we would love for you all to follow us on our platforms as well. So, Derwin, tell the people where they could where they could follow you at and catch up with you.
You guys know you can find me on Instagram and Threads at Derwin King. That's DerwinKing. And on TikTok at Freed Negro. That's FREENEGREAUX.
And you all, of course, can follow me on all platforms at _Lord Every. That is _LORDEVERY. You also can follow us on the podcast platforms. Instagram, it is That Black Boy Joy Pod. It is That Black Boy Joy on X. It is That Black Boy Joy at podcast@gmail.com. On YouTube, it is That Black Boy Joy. Make sure on all these platforms you subscribe, like, comment, really keep engaged with us, because we really do appreciate the conversations that everyone's been having with us in our comments. And we do invite you all to engage in the conversations with us even more. If you would like to be on the show, definitely reach out to us. We have some amazing people coming up. Super excited about that. But like we always tell our guests, our listeners, please be so in love with who you are.